Hello everyone, I welcome you all to this lesson. Today I am going to take up the topic A Work of Artifice, which is written by Marge, Pierre. Children, this is my part 3 of this video. So here and begin. And before that, let me ask you, have you subscribed to my channel? If you have not subscribed up till now, then please do. And watch the video till end. And press the like button if you have liked it. Don't forget to leave your valuable comments below. Also hit the bell icon for my latest notification. So children, let us start with this beautiful poem, A Work of Artifice. So children, in this first stanza, I have already given to you in part 1, but let's summarize in few lines. The bonsai tree. The bonsai tree is the attractive pot could have grown 80 feet tall on the side of a mountain till split by lightning. So this line introduces the bonsai tree, which could have grown to a great height in its natural environment. The tree's potential growth is cut short by the artificial environment of the pot, symbolizing the societal constraints placed on women. But a gardener carefully pruned it. It is 9 inches high. So this line means to say that the gardener represents society, which carefully shapes and restricts the growth of the tree. And the tree, who is the tree? The tree represents a woman, to fit a certain aesthetic or expectation. So children, here the gardener represents the man and tree represents a woman. The tree's height, just 9 inches, emphasizes the extent of this restriction. So in this particular poem, in this particular stanza, the word bonsai is a tree or shrub that has been dwarfed, as by pruning the roots and pinching back the shoots, and is grown in a pot or other container and trained to produce a desired shape or effect. In this stanza, children, the poetic device which has been used is, this is when you describe. What is a poetic device? It is when you describe something by saying it is something else. So in this poem, bonsai tree is a metaphor for the women. Just like the bonsai trees are kept small and confined, women are also kept in certain roles and places. Euphemism is also used in this particular stanza. What is euphemism? A euphemism is a word or phrase that softens an uncomfortable topic. Here the idea of societal operations of women and individuality is discussed through an artifice, and that is bonsai. So children, now I will tell you now let's move towards the second stanza. A short summary of the second stanza, and the lines are: every day as he whittles back the branches, the gardener croons. It is your nature to be small and cozy, domestic and weak. So this line means to say that the gardener is daily pruning, and his words reflect societal expectations that women should be small, domestic and weak. This line criticizes the way society often justifies the gender role as natural. The line, "How lucky the little tree to have a pot to grow in." So this means to say that the pot, while providing a place for the tree to grow, also limits its growth. This reflects the societal view that women should be grateful for their domestic roles, even though these roles can be restrictive. So here in this second stanza, the poetic device used is the irony. You know, children, what is irony? Irony is when the actual meaning is opposite to the literal meaning. So in the poem, gardener is representing men, limits the growth of the bonsai tree, and bonsai tree represents women, while still expecting it to be beautiful and nurturing. This is ironic because the gardener is preventing the tree from reaching at full potential, yet he still wants it to be beautiful. Another poetic device which has been used is imagery. You know, children, what is imagery? Imagery is when poet uses words to create picture in your mind. So the poem uses imagery when it describes the bonsai tree being pruned in a pot, which helps you visualize the situation. When we say that the bonsai tree is being pruned, so in that particular case, you also imagine that it is being cut or it is being pruned. Personification is when you give human qualities to something that isn't human. In the poem, the bonsai tree is given human qualities. For example, the gardener tells the bonsai tree that it is lucky to have a pot to grow in, as if the tree can understand him. Now I move towards stanza number 3. And the lines from the poem are, with living creatures, one must begin very early to drop their growth, to bound feet, the crippled brain, the hair in colors, the hands you touch, the hands you love to touch. So the meaning of this line is that the poem concludes by drawing parallels between the bonsai tree and various ways in which women's growth and potential have been historically limited, such as foot binding, intellectual stifling, and objectification. So children, now I move towards line by line explanation of stanza number 3. So the line, with living creatures, one must begin very early, means to say that just like the gardener, the man is well aware of the fact that the conditioning should begin early so that she remains dependent forever and can never claim freedom. The line, to dwarf their growth, means to say that early conditioning leaves the tree stunted and the women weak and subjugated. So here the word dwarf means made to appear smaller or less important than is actually the case. The line, the bound feet, means to say that men oppress women by limiting what they can do, just like the bonsai, which can never grow to its original height. The crippled brain. Here the poet means to say that women cannot think freely due to the early conditioning. They identify themselves incapable and dependent on men of the patriarchal society. The line, the hair in curlers, means to say that women try to conform to the standards of the patriarchal society. They believe that it is customary to look attractive or even bind their feet to keep them small. The line, the hands you love to touch. Here the poet says that they are made to think that looking attractive suits them, and that is the only purpose they can serve. They are forever trapped in hoping to look best so that the men find them desirable and acceptable. So here the word bound feet, as I have already described to you, refers to the old Chinese custom where the feet of young girls were bound to prevent in further growth, considered as a painful and restrictive practice. Here in the third stanza, the poetic device used is allusions. You know, children, what allusion means? It means an allusion is a figure of speech that references a person, a place, event, or literary work. Allusions are either implied or direct. So here in this stanza, the bound feet are reference to the historical practice in China where women's feet were tightly bound from an early age to keep them small. Another poetic device used here is the metaphor. It is used here as a metaphor for societal restriction on women. In the line, crippled means unable to use one or more parts of the body properly. Curler means small rollers used to curl person's hair. And the poetic device used here in the third stanza is imagery. The hair in curlers. The symbolism, the bonsai tree, represents the idea of humans being dwarfed or constrained by societal expectations. The hands you love to touch. So here there is a repetition. The hands you love to touch. So children, now I move towards the question and answer of this poem. Hope you have understood the poem nicely. So now let's do the questions. What does the bound feet, the crippled brain, the hair in curlers convey? These question and answers are based on third stanza, as first and second I have already given to you. And the correct answer for this question is the rigid beauty expectations. My next question is, what is the theme of the poem? And the correct answer is to show the impact of society on individuals. My third question is, through which line does the poet suggest that society's control over individuals can have negative consequences? And the correct answer is the bound feet, the crippled brain. Now I move towards question number 4. What is the main theme of the stanza and how does the poet convey it? Yes, children. So the question was, what is the main theme of the stanza and how does the poet convey it? This is question number 4. And the correct answer is, the stanza's theme is highly probable to comprise both exposing oppression and urging oppressors to reflect and reform. The examples of binding women's feet, crippled brain, hair in curlers, and hands you love to touch illustrates the various means by which society imposes its own limitations and restrictions on people, especially women, and the danger of allowing ourselves to be defined by these imposed limitations. The use of the word dwarf describes limiting the growth and the theme of control and possession. The lines, the hand you love to touch, signifies all the hands that have participated in curbing our potential to touch the sky. Question number 5. What is the historical and cultural context of the stanza, particularly in reference to the practice of binding feet, and what message does the poet convey through this reference? And the correct answer is the word the bound feet allude to the pre-revolutionary culture practice in China and some other East Asian cultures where the feet of young girls were tightly bound with bandages in order to prevent further growth and achieve the beauty standard of small feet. While the hair in curlers can allude to the recent practice of Western women curling their hairs to maintain the standard of beauty. Here the poet suggests that the societal expectations and pressures might be the cause of such limitations. These practices were designed for women to restrict them to the mold of beauty set by the society. The poem's theme is highly probable to comprise both exposing oppression and urging oppressors to reflect and reform. The examples of binding women's feet, crippled brain, hair in curlers, and the hands you love to touch illustrates the various means by which society imposes its own limitations and restrictions on people, especially women, and the dangers of allowing ourselves to be defined by these limitations. So children, hope you have understood that these serves as a powerful reminder of the women's resilience and agency. Her hands reflect her expectations, strength, memories, thoughts and feelings, which are the things that truly belongs to her, which can identify herself with that and that represents her as a person. So my next question is question number 6. What is the use of the verb to drop significant here? So the correct answer is that the use of the verb to drop in this stanza contributes to the overall message of the poem in a few ways. Firstly, it emphasizes the idea that limiting or controlling the growth and development of living creatures is unnatural and harmful, as drafting suggests reducing something to a smaller and less healthy state. Secondly, the use of dwarf also implies that the effect of limiting or controlling growth is to make the creatures in questions less significant or less powerful. This could be a commentary on societal attitudes towards certain groups of people, such as women, and the ways in which their growth and development are often limited or controlled. Finally, by using the word to drop, the poet also highlights the paradox, as it is both intended to limit or control growth, and yet it also diminishes the targeted creatures in a harmful way. Question number 7. What do you think the poet meant by the line, "the hands you love to touch"? And the correct answer is the lines, "the hands you love to touch" possibly signifies all the hands that have participated in curbing our potential to touch the sky. It also implies a sense of ownership and possessions over the creatures, as if the person or group of people in question have a right to touch or manipulate them as they wish. The use of the word love may suggest a twisted justification of the controlling action. Given that these lines largely refers to experiences of women throughout the ages, they can serve as a powerful reminder to women's resilience and agencies. Her hands may reflect her experiences, strength, memories, thoughts, and feelings, which are the things that truly belongs to her, which she can identify herself with, and the presence her as a person. The line also serves to add a sense of irony to the stanza, as the action being described are cruel and harmful, but the speaker is describing them in an affectionate manner, which may make the reader reflect on the how people can justify cruel actions when they believe they are doing them out of love. Question number 7. What is metaphor used in this stanza? And the correct answer is the hands, the bound feet, and the crippled brain are both metaphors that compares the limiting and controlling growth physically and mentally. These metaphors effectively convey the harm and unnaturalness of the actions being described, making it easy for the readers to imagine the negative effects of the creatures in the question. My next question is question number 9. Elaborate only 2 literary devices that are used in this stanza. So children, here in this stanza, that is the last stanza, several literary devices are used to convey the overall message. Number 1 is repetition. That is the phrase "to doff their growth" is repeated in the beginning of the stanza, which emphasizes the main idea of the poem, that is the limiting and controlling growth. Number 2, irony. The line "the hands you love to touch" is ironic because the actions being described as loving are actually harmful and cruel. This ironical line makes the reader reflect on how people can justify actions as loving when they are actually harmful. All these literary devices work together to create a powerful and evocative image in the mind of the reader, and to reinforce the theme of the poem, limiting and controlling individuals' growth is harmful and unnatural. Question number 10. And children, this is my last question. How does the comparison between the bonsai tree and hands that are loved to touch in the poem reflect societal expectations for relationship? So the correct answer is that both are the examples of control and manipulation. So children, with these explanation and question and answers, I end my lesson. Hope this lesson will be helpful for you in your study. Do like, share and subscribe my channel with your friends. Thank you.